Hi, I'm Michael Wargo, team pilot with Precision Aerobatics. And today I'm going to do a video I haven't done before, which is, this is going to be how to transition from smaller electric 3D into giant scale. Now, going from foamies to balsa is a bit of a trick. It takes a little more courage to do everything. It takes a little more skill. It takes a little more attention. You can't, you just cannot take your focus off the airplane as you start increasing the value of the aircraft and the weight and so on and so forth. Well, obviously, moving to giant scale offers a whole bunch of challenges that literally doesn't exist in these smaller electrics. The gasoline engine is the biggest part of it. 3D is so dependent on throttle control. You'll see that you need to have your engine tuned properly. Do not come down low unless your engine is running like a clock. All the stuff, once you get off the ground and you're at altitude, my contention is everything with giant scale is easier. Literally everything. Tumbling is easier. It has more mass. You'll see, I'll show you pop tops and things like that, and I will show you just how much more aggressively it tumbles and how much nicer it looks. But once you drop down low, things change. The plane is bigger, it is heavier, a little more dangerous, a little more of everything, a lot of intimidation in the propeller getting closer to you and everything getting louder. So we're not going to discuss the nerves part of it, probably as much as I should, because that factors in a great deal. But for the most part, I'm going to show you how to get yourself comfortable doing things a little bit lower. Of course, I know many guys at the club who can hover a foamy right on the ground, but will not bring their giant scale below 50 feet. I don't think it should be that scary, but I do understand it is, and I do not want to be dismissive of that fear factor. So I'm going to give you an idea of what it's like to help transition and start being able to do some nice, cool, low, slow 3D stuff right at the deck. You're going to see me, before I take off, I'm going to check its transition. That's a really important part of the motor. It can be a little loud to hear, but I got to check the transition. That means the transition is good. I like to take off with a couple quick things low. All right. Okay, first thing we're going to do, the most important thing, and this is going to get you there all by itself almost. We're going to turn over and do that exercise we talk about learning how to harrier. Flip it over and stop the airplane. There is a ton of movement in my throttle. Just keep the rudder going and keep moving that throttle around, and see if you can keep it at the same height. This is skill number one, and all we want to do is stay up high and keep doing the same thing. Now it's falling a little bit. Tom, can you put your focus on the sticks here? All right. Now I just caught it. You see all the flex in that throttle? That is non-existent in an electric airplane. You may even need some throttle curve, and I have a video on how to program a throttle curve. So I'm staying basically at the same height. It might be falling a little bit. All right, Tom, you can go back to the airplane. Now you can see what I'm doing. I'm adding some left rudder, and I'm just kind of flying around. And that's it.
Hi, Aero.
All right, I put the gyro on. I don't fly this thing 3D with the gyro at all. I installed the gyro when I got it, and I never took it out. But it's going to keep the wings a little cleaner and let me focus a bit more on the throttle. Now, once you get a little braver, you can see what I'm doing. This is the biggest skill that we can have when we're learning to fly 3D, and it goes just the same for the giant scale. This is a good height to get comfortable. Stay up here and just tool it around, just like this. As you get a little better, of course, you could do this inverted. This is all throttle control, 100%. 30 seconds. Now, as you start getting lower, got to be very hypersensitive to the throttle. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to come back down the runway.
20 seconds.
These are basically just rudder turns, but listen to the motor. It reflects what I'm doing with the throttle. Now, the one thing I want to caution you, I don't want you to fly and slow down to get into a Harrier. I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is go up high, very high, turn it back to you, and then flip it around. This is a very easy condition to start the Harrier. Just let it fall down. It's coming down almost vertical. Right here you can hear this is where I start adding it. Now this is my safety zone. Stop it there. From up here, you know, you have a lot of room for error, you have a lot of room for everything, and it's fairly comfortable up here. Now my recommendation is you should also, once you get here, every time you do that pass like this, I'll do it up a little higher the way I want you to. Go up here and stand it up and get used to it, and try and not get climb very much. And as you'll see with this aircraft, I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to stand it up really low, and you watch how much the throttle control is really making everything look good. I'm going to stand it up right at the ground. Right where I'm at. You notice I didn't gain any altitude. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the difference between the electrics and the gas with things like a pop top or tumbling. See how nice it comes around? It's really pretty, and that's because of the mass of the motor and the plane itself. It just carries more energy into these maneuvers. Something I think is just so much fun is, again, because of the mass of the aircraft, I'm going to slam the sticks to the corners. And again, that rate of tumbling is so good in all of the giant scale aircraft. This one isn't the greatest tumbler. You know, the MX2s and the extras are much better at it. All right, I'm going to show you, for the sake of argument, I'm going to show you the inverted Harrier, same way, except I'm going to bring it low so you can really see it and hear the engine. See the throttle control to get it to stand? To keep it right where it is. Let's try it again. This time I'm going to let it come all the way down. And you watch how nice and easy it is to stand up when you have good throttle control. Another thing that's really wonderful about the giant scale planes is the way they snap and things like that. These real nice quick snaps. They have a lot of energy, and they tend to want to really crank around, especially if you do them with a lot of throttle. So here's a lot of throttle. Definitely something I enjoy about the giant scale.
0.03.
I think one of the biggest lessons you can get with the giant scale stuff is to do everything related to throttle control and, you know, practicing harriers, driving them around, doing things like that. Once you do that, everything else gets a lot easier. For instance, we talk about knife edge and flying on knife edge. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up high. I'm going to do a dead slide on knife edge. And it's a really good idea to practice controlling the throttle. See, I'm not going to let it come down very far. I'm going to add a little bit of throttle. Again, throttle control. That's what it's all about. I'm going to go, this time, I'm going to do the same exact thing, but I'm going to let it come down to the runway. I have an aileron rolling out for some reason. See, now we're going to come down to the runway and we're going to add the throttle right where it counts. Right here at the end. Start adding, add. And we let it come right down to the ground. Okay, what we've covered so far is really all there is to know for in a big way. And that is,
35 minutes.
get that throttle control. The throttle control is everything. Once you do that, you can do all the 3D stuff you can do with your smaller aircraft. It's just learning to feel that plane on the ground. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to transition into a rolling harrier low. I don't want you to start practicing them low, but I think it's a useful skill. As you start getting good and you can do them up high, I'm going to show you a way to get into it that is going to let you do at least one or two rolls low. And that's how you kind of get used to it. You can go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 and eventually get comfortable low. But throttle control in a low rolling harrier is so critical that you really have to be on top of it. Otherwise you can, you can harm your airplane. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the
Flight mode 1.
trick to rolling harrier low. Now I have plenty of videos on how to rolling harrier when you are up high, or how to start it, how to learn it. This is not for somebody just learning to rolling harrier. This is for someone who already knows how to do it and wants to learn how to do it low. I'm showing you where all that ring rock is coming from. We're going to literally go a little quicker, and we're going to start right at the ground, just like that.
Minus 44 minutes.
And then you can just keep it going as long as you can. One of the reasons we're going to be doing it this way is pretty simple. And that is, on the first roll or two, you're just really going to go up on momentum. It's low. I'm even flying pretty fast. You can still do it. Slow it down a little bit and roll. You see that first roll is easy and I rolled low and I climbed directly up. So it takes significantly less courage to do that. And that's really what we're looking at. We're looking at trying to get, courageous enough to roll it low.
Minus 49 minutes.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to have the plane a little slower. And instead of on that first roll going straight up, I'm going to try and stay with it. Kick the rudder and just turn. You see what I'm doing? I started low and I didn't go up very high. Now on the next one, I'm going to try a little harder and I'm going to go and stay a little bit lower. Make sure the harrier is nice and controlled and slow. So now I'm going to be a lot slower coming in. Almost like I'm going to get ready to hover. I'm going to be that low. See how low I am? Now as I'm getting there, I'm just going to make that first roll. And now, once you get it going, you might be able to just hold it. You know, there's a couple of other things that I'll show you now that I think are so much nicer with the giant scale planes that just look better. Here's a knife edge spin, and we're gonna, I'll show you just how quick it can just wrap right up. And tumble. Nice. Another thing that looks really beautiful with the giant planes
Minus 51 minutes.
is a flat spin. Because, again, just because of the weight of the motor and everything, watch how nice that looks. Isn't that pretty? Never mind, let's go up again. Let me land.